baby! That's what I'm talking about!
Welcome back. Hipbrain jumping into predictions with 5 points. Betted on Nord. And you both were talking about how this game could go both ways. So that's why people were eager to I'm going to bet 1 point or 2 points at the maximum. I understand Hipbrain was just mega mind. And he got those points going in, so we need to understand what happened. What was so important for Rudy or even for Nord to get to the point of the game? I do believe that engage on the bot side on the first turret and then going for the tier 2 turrets before 10 minutes in, kind of complicated things for Rudy.
Yes, I think the bot lane had me sweating. I'll be completely real with you. I think Merbs was heavily denied, and that wasn't him playing bad. That wasn't really any... I wouldn't say that was a fault of Nord. I think Ruddy played really, really well towards the bottom side of the map. I think Warzy was just such a salvaging fact for this team. Like, he was so on it. Every time a play went bad bot lane, he salvaged it and actually made it a positive play for the team. It then allowed Merbs time to get back into the game, and eventually that was a 4-5 item Jhin who was just tapping people for ridiculous amounts of damage. But I do think Warzy was the saving factor of this game. For a while, I was like, this is not as close as I thought it was going to be, and it felt very Nord favored. And then they made a couple of mistakes here and there, and Ruddy started to bring that game back. So it ended up being a pretty close game, considering how well that looked to have gone for the side of Nord.
Yeah, I agree. I think the early game was incredibly hectic, and you saw a lot of good plays actually coming out from both sides. And Ruddy's game plan of ruining Merb's day went pretty well until it didn't, and they were just a tad too far, just a bit too aggressive, and I just think it was a really impressive game actually. I think despite the fact that Ruddy lost and Nord won, and it's just going to be like a 1-0 in the scoreboard at the end of the day, and Jake getting 5 points and everyone else losing it at the end of the day, we saw some good things out of both of these teams, and I think these are probably some of the we're definitely looking at playoff teams here for sure. And I was a little disappointed with Nord in week 1. But I think so far, that was the best game we've seen from them. And I was very impressed.
Yeah, the way they used vision in the map to also get to those objectives, and the way they used the composition. We talked about it before we jumped into the game, the fact that they had no specific front line, no massive front line, but they all had ways to ignore the damage. And we felt it at the end, like a lot of fights. We thought, hey, maybe this is ready. Okay, they can't do damage. They don't deal damage. There's no way to bypass the Gwen W, the Xin Zhao R as well, Alistar R. It was not only on the champion select, but also inside of the game. So do you guys believe this is... Yes?
Would you say they ignored the damage?
Good one. You saw the penny drop.
That's all I had to input on that. I'm sorry. I have nothing more. I'm done.
Not only do I miss some predictions,
yeah, love
but also I don't want to talk to you anymore. So Roshan, join us with the interview. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the interview. Obviously, that was a big one for you guys. How are you feeling after the game?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good. I'm happy with the win.
So at the beginning of the split, everybody was looking into Nord, like the big hype, such legend in NLC. It didn't start the way you wanted. How was it like going from week 1 to week 2? Was there any pep talk, any conversations? Tell me about it.
There are definitely a lot of conversations, I would say. I mean, you could kind of see it as well in the gameplay of week 1. But I would say we had a really slow start. Also in the mid game and trying to get the team together, but I'm really happy with the progress we made from week 1 to week 2. Like, we really got a lot better in that getting on the same page.
And we were talking about the MVP and how to bring the MVP. We had some issues looking for Nord's MVP due to the fact that all of you worked as a team, as like a single key. Do you feel that way right now? Like the team is finally connected? Or you still think we need to touch on some areas of the gameplay?
I mean, I think there's definitely things we still work on, but I think the team, especially this game as well, everybody played their parts. They played their role very well together, I would say.
For all the fans of Nord, what can you leave them with? Because it was a slow start, but it seems like you guys are getting the hang of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So what are your words for the fan base of Nord?
For the fan base.
Yeah.
Mm. That's a hard one. Yeah, I would say look out for
The hardest
playoffs
question,
because
talking to people.
because we are ramping up and it's gonna be faster and faster. So I think we're gonna be a beast in playoffs.
Okay, love it. Last question for you. It doesn't come from me, it comes from the desk itself.
Uh-huh.
What are those behind you? Because I love those curtains, and where can I get them?
I have no idea. I think it's like from a child's book or something. I've had them for tens and tens of years.
I love it, by the way. I just love it.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the game, by the way. Best of luck for tomorrow, day 2. And I wish you the best. See you soon, Roshan.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. He's so nice, though. It's lovely to meet these players. And those curtains were beautiful. Thank you for the idea,
I'm
Fox.
jealous. I'm very jealous.
Yeah.
I need. I don't know whether it's a Dutch thing or what, but I need to get my hands on those curtains.
I'm just wholesome. So with that in mind, hey Brian, yeah, you did the pun. I still haven't got over it, but it seems like Nord are finally playing as a core, as a team. And even though we only got the sample of one game after the first week, obviously it's too little of a sample. It seems like Nord can live up to reputation right now. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I saw Nord had a really good foundation. They look like a really solid team. I mean, they went toe to toe with Verdant, and a lot of people have been very, very Verdant hyped for this split. I mean, they were last split as well, but this split is again very, very hyped on Verdant. So a lot of attention has been on that, and they were able to go toe to toe with Verdant. Yeah, they lost that game, but they won their other game as well, and they look really, really solid. I think that was, I can't remember who they were playing now. They played versus Natives, who another team everyone was very hyped on. They've had a really, really tough run of schedule when you think about it. Like, they've played 3 teams who everyone's been very hyped on for their first 3 matches of the season, and they've come out 2-1. Like, I genuinely think this team are just one of our top teams in the, like, to kind of keep your eyes on. I genuinely expect to see them make top 3. I'd be surprised at anything below that. Maybe a very bold statement to be making after 3 days of games, but I really do see them having legs. And we saw a massive improvement here where they focused on objectives better into this game than they have, in week 1. So there's already some level of progress being made by them. So that's where my attention is right now, is, we're seeing progression from them, but they've also got a really, really solid foundation to work with.
I love it. So let's talk with Ruddy, because we need to understand what happened from previous week 1 to week 2. We have Don Jake with us. Oh, that is a sound I've never heard before from you, Don.
I can make a lot of sounds, to be fair.
Well, that is a... Thank you for the information. So give me the sound of what happened.
I'm not going to do that. I'm not a clown. If you get me on the interview,
No,
I'll show
I
you
want
to
you
start
to
doing
talk
tricks.
with me to understand, like, what was
You mean
the
words,
situation.
like words as a sound? Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. I don't know. I think it's difficult for me to say because I wasn't in comms today, obviously in the watch party. Also, I'm doing the interview 3 times in a row because my players, I need to start cracking the whip. They need to start getting on the interview. It's absolutely ridiculous. They should be ashamed of themselves. They've started saying they don't have cameras and stuff like that. We know you've got cameras. We know you've got cameras, players. Come on, let's be serious. But I think we were relatively happy with draft-ish. I think we kind of entered it a little bit. That can go better. I think we're still massively struggling from a lack of coach, which you can kind of see in our lack of direction. There's not really someone calling us back from some of these bigger plays sometimes, which I think means that the way the early game went was kind of just bad in general. We ended up sprinting it down really hard in a relatively beneficial position. I think it looks like a different game if that doesn't happen. But we're still learning, we're still growing. It's obviously lovely to see so many people turn up to the games. It was actually funny. I was halfway through our watch party, we got about 20 people in there. Someone joined called Don Gary, and I realised after about 5 minutes that it was my dad. My dad actually joined our watch party. So
Hey, that's a proud moment.
No, it's pretty cool. It's nice for him to see that what I do, what we get up to, even if it's on a loss. It was nice.
Yeah, it's through defeat that we find victory. So, Don Jake, what can you tell us about tomorrow? Like, what is the work in place for the team? You talked about the fact that you have no coach. So how can you deal with this situation and move on to the next day?
I mean, we're still actively looking for one. Talking to a few people. I'm picking up the pieces a little bit, like putting a lot of effort into just I won't ever claim to be someone that can like provide coaching services, but just asking questions, facilitating just the general structure. I make sure that I'm around a little bit these last few days to bounce back. I think today's a bit of a wake up call. I think some people turned up a little bit sleepy today, weren't fully switched on, and that reflected in their gameplay. And in the day, that's a harsh reality that they're going to have to face, and that we have to face as a family, right? We're all a team. Switch on for tomorrow and give it against one of the other teams that are competing for this top 4. Because I think right now the state of the league is there's 5 teams competing for top 4. And I think you can't really afford to sleep lest you find yourself just about missing out on that playoff spot. So it's a bit of a somber interview from me, not many jokes, but I'm sure we can pick it back up. And I want to say a massive thanks to everyone that comes and spams in the chat, comes to the watch party, chats alive every time that we play. It's only really, the Nord fans only really turn up after they've won, to be fair. They're not really typing that much during the game, so we're able to drown them out until we lose, so I'm fine with that. That's all good with me.
We got a little bit of spice at the end of the interview. Thank you so much for that one, Don't Shake.
No worries.
And the best of luck for tomorrow, man. Have a lovely one. A little bit more calm as well, but it's an issue. It's an issue. If you don't have a coach, things like the tower dive at tier 2 will happen. You lose direction. Because confidence is a slow and insidious killer, isn't it?
Who says that? Is that a Darkest Dungeon quote?
It is.
Yeah.
That marked my life because it's a reality. It is a reality.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have the MVP of this game. Let's show everybody who it was, because we were thinking about the jungle. We were thinking about Rudy as well. It was Warzy, due to the fact that it was able to hold on to the early game and transition to the late game like a beast, wasn't it?
Due to the fact he's the only person we had a picture of to use for the graphic.
Oh.
No, but legit, he was very good. I think he was quite, as Don Jake mentioned, the early game for Ruddy looked beneficial for Ruddy in certain parts, but then they kind of just made too many mistakes. But to be perfectly honest, if you're overstepping and making mistakes, they're not really oversteps or mistakes unless you're punished for them, and that's what Warzy did, and that's why he was so instrumental, I would say, in Nord's win, because he really did stabilize that early game and actually turn it into a favorable position for them. And then once that was under their belt, all those rockets coming through, just absolutely grotesque stuff from Nord's mid laner.
I will say I have an honorable mention for Romeo in this game.
Okay.
I think he played very, very well. The odd mistakes, but like things like that Hex Flash from the chicken camp into mid lane, and yeah, it got him killed, but then Warzy got a kill in response and then shoved the lane in, got some power plays. Like it was little things like that which it wasn't definitely MVP worthy, but he was an honorable shout out for me. I think he played like a psycho, and I love a support that plays like a psycho. It was super fun to watch.
All the Nord's players were really good actually. That game, it's actually quite difficult to choose an MVP.
So this allows us to move on to the second game of the day. It's going to be Lightside, who's looking for the victory, versus Lions, who are just at the top of the table. Many people are looking into this game like a one-sided game. That's why a lot of people are betting the 5 points on this one. But is there a world where we might see Lions starve a little bit? That was a delay.
I would love to play devil's advocate, but I think these Lions are going to eat good, if I'm going to be real with you.
Isn't that how it works? Everything the light touches is for the Lions anyway, so
That actually
don't stand a chance.
Oh my.
Oh, he's been sitting on that for a while, hasn't he?
Mate, as with everything, I pulled out my ass 10 seconds ago. So that's how we work around these parts.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think Lightside are a bad team, but I think Lions Creed are a very, very good team. There's always a chance, right? Like nothing's guaranteed, nothing's 100%. But I think if you were to put a percentage on it, I think it's way more warped towards Lions Creed. This is an incredibly stacked team. They showed us how capable they are. They went 2-0 last week. We haven't brought it up, but I was asked to make some bold predictions going into today. Yeah. It's my introduction as an analyst, which is a terrifying thing to ask me to do predictions. But one of my things was I genuinely believe that Lions Creed are going to go undefeated until playoffs. I think at playoffs you'll start to see some faults in their strengths, but I do think they're going to go undefeated. And I'd look real silly right now if Lightside bring the win out, as we are in picks and bans, and I should probably be talking about that. A lot of ADC bans from Lightside. They are just targeting Jinjo. He is subject of a lot of bullying right now in the ban phase.
Yeah, this is quite typical actually of Lightside. They've often opted into banning away AD carries. Draven, Lucian, I mean obviously the closest gone as well, but they throw in like the Ashe bans as well. So a lot of bot side focus. They really do want to try and get that favorable matchup for themselves in that situation. Ivan as well is you might be looking at who the hell bans Ivan? Well, it's 100% ban against Lightside. So they have some Ivan tech cooking that the other teams in NLC do not want to see. And for the second time in a row here today, it is going to be that Varus first pick.
One of those AD carries that is always getting the light right now in terms of meta. At least at the patch we're sitting in this NLC, and followed up by Jhin. It's like a handshake between those AD carries. Previous game, Jhin actually got beaten up at the beginning, but then came back. So we see some flaws in both of them. It depends on the state of the game and how you get fed. But Jinju is a beast. So that is the first pick coming in, and followed up, just like the previous game, with the Xin Zhao, supposedly.
Yeah, I like this, picking themselves a jungler who can kind of have some impact on the map early. Doesn't completely fall off as well. The power of that ult late game is really, really good just to be able to negate damage, especially when you're playing in a pokey champion like the Varus. But the big thing is Jhin is not a tank killer. He struggles a lot with these tanks, and getting the Cassante, who we saw again last week, really, really immortal, very hard to deal with. I actually really like what Lightside have been drafting here. Like the Nautilus and the Cassante, they've got a mix of good engage and a really, really tanky frontline. Now the question is how Lion's Creed going to deal with this frontline?
Rumble is alive.
Rumble is alive. That is an option. There's also another option in the mid lane, in the Corki, which I know is boring, but I think the Corki is a really solid pickup here on that front. But they actually go for the Gwen just to match that top now. Can duel versus the Cassante, has some side pressure, has team fighting pressure. Lion's Creed honestly just taking a page out of Nord's book here.
I like it, honestly. I think it's pretty solid. I think as an answer to having a tankier composition, having something like the Gwen, which she ramps up in that consistent damage, has true damage as well, is a really, really solid pick there for Banderas, and you already know what the matchup's going to be. So I love that right there from Lion's Creed. It does sort of lessen the need for the consistent damage out of the mid laner, though I would say something like the Corki would still be a solid pick. You kind of want something that can peel itself or be a little bit safe against all the engage and CC from light sides. And here for Lion's Creed, I mean, Kasinga's played nothing but engage and aggressive supports. He had a Blitzcrank game last week. I mean, to be fair, Milio, I guess, doesn't count. But the Blitzcrank game makes up for the Milio game. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see him go for that option. They're already lacking engage for Lion's Creed. So something that can start fights would be very beneficial. And it is going to be that Leona slap down.
On Kasing as well. Do you remember that, Hip Ryan? He built the Zonias in 2022. He was just killing everybody as a Leona. So he loves that champion. On the other side, bringing this one. I haven't seen Bambi for a long time. I don't know if that's going to be the pick as well. Finding versus Sinzao, there's a lot of options. On the state right now, you have a few items that can give you a lot of power, and that's actually a pick.
Yeah. I also very good at dealing with the Void Mites because you hit them all with your Q. You can kind of take down those objectives very quickly. It kind of gives you some, like, I want to say non-committal long-range engage. You hit the bowling ball onto multiple people, sleep them, and then if you're in a position, you can follow up with the Nautilus, the Cassante, and potentially this Yone if they do decide to lock that in. They have got an AP jungler, so you can have an AD mid here. Deciding actually to lean towards more poke, which I think is better when you got that Varus. I really like what Lightside have put together. Again, they are playing into Lion's Creed, so they have to play this very, very well to find the win here. But I do feel like this is I'll start that again. This is probably the best comp they could have put together if they want to find that win versus Lion's Creed. I really, really like this. I'm now on LeBlanc's side because she's my favorite. Lion's Creed win this game. It's over.
That's crazy. That's actually so incredible to slap that one down right there. I'm a little bit surprised, but I'm here for it. Absolutely. You got such pressure coming through now. The aggression from that mid jungle is insane. The follow up as well. Attacking side lanes is good too if you want to just avoid these kind of team fights and stuff like that. Yeah, I think Lion's Creed, the early game could be quite explosive for these guys, and great news for Johan in the jungle on Xin Zhao. You know, Xin doesn't really struggle to make plays happen as a jungler, but when you've got like a Leona on one side, a LeBlanc there as well, he's going to struggle even less. So I am expecting quite a bloodthirsty early game here in this one.
He's playing on easy mode with this champion right now. Hit me, Hip.
Yeah, I mean, for Temps right now, his job is just to enable Johan. Like, this jungle mid is really strong together. I will say, the major problem they have is late game. I feel like LeBlanc is going to struggle into that team. Like, it's super hard to play LeBlanc into like the Nautilus, like Asante. You have to find really good flank angles. So as long as Lightside are setting up vision on their flanks and not just getting LeBlanc one shot from Fog of War, I actually think Temp's going to struggle as this game goes later. LeBlanc typically does struggle into the later game. So it's really about Tempt enabling Johan to set the team up for success going into late game, because towards the end of this game, you're just going to get poked and prodded before you can even find an opportunity to kill someone if you don't have good vision and you don't have good flank angles.
The Lion is fencing another meal, while on the other side we have the Light. It depends on who's going to come on top of this one and ruin everybody's predictions. Let's jump into the casters. This is Eragon and the Danish one. It's not Goldberg. It's
the Danish one. I've been given a new nickname as well. Thank you very much, Ashram. Back here on the caster desk, Eragon, we've been discussing the draft a bit. Obviously, there are many intricacies in a draft like this, but I'm gonna make one point very clear. One thing I've learned from watching Lions Creed in game 1, when you're the underdog against them, it doesn't matter how you draft, it matters if you survive the first 15 minutes without being 10k gold behind. Because Lions Creed, they know how to put the pedal to the metal, and they're gonna be going for a quick win here as well. That's my gut feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like no matter how you slice it, it's kind of a David vs. Goliath talk, unfortunately. I really want to see what Lightside brings. Hopefully they can bring some kind of upset. I want them to try and maybe try something early. They've got a nice duo down bot side with the Varus Nautilus. If they can land some CC, you know, maybe make some plays down there. But in terms of draft as well, I think it's pretty interesting. You have the Lilia coming out for EMP. Now, EMP's a player I think was struggling a little bit. Right, just a tad, and he's brought out the carry pick. This is something that Team Heretics actually did, and what you do on the Lilia is you try to outfarm the Xin Zhao whilst your lanes are stable. You play for the priors in your lanes to secure your camps, and then you can also do grubbies. And it's on Johan to find the ganks to make sure, you know, that he's not just falling further and further behind whilst not finding anything with his earlier ability to gank, unlike the Lilia. And it is definitely down to that LeBlanc plus Xin Zhao setup in the mid lane, where they can potentially find something onto the Jace, who hates being jumped on, by the way, which is what their idea is. Maybe shift that down into bot side with that priority.
Yeah, you know, the analysis is so good, Eragon. I just have that one, right? It's about surviving the early game. That is step one. Because when I last week watched DMG play up against Lions Creed, I like what DMG had done. I knew many of their players that played for their comfort, they played for the scaling, you know, survive the first 50 minutes, and maybe they have a shot in the team fights. They just didn't survive those first 50 minutes. And the Xin Zhao jungle is certainly someone who can gank. And as you said, if he teams up with Temp Johan well enough, with the LeBlanc as well, from Temp, they just rotate down, they gank the bot lane or something, 2v4, they dive, get 2 kills, and then the game just snowballs from there. Lions Creed are so incredibly good at snowballing. If that can be stopped somehow, then maybe Lungfish Lights have a chance. But I'm already talking maybes, and we aren't even into the game, and that just highlights how much of an underdog story this will be. I really like the tweet that we saw today from Lungfish Lights as well. I'm gonna read it aloud here because it very much describes how much of an upset it would be if Lungfish Lights have managed to do something here. They tweeted out, "No one believed Germany would beat home nation Brazil 7-1 in the 2014 FIFA World Cup. No one believed Kaboom would beat #1 European seed Alliance at Worlds 2014. That is also true. And no one believed the Dane, Kevin Magnussen, would qualify first at the 2022 Sao Paulo GP. But they all did." So these are very, very unlikely things. Big points in history that are still remembered in their respective sports. The Kaboom, still talked about 10 years ago soon. Yeah. And we still talk about Kaboom, right? If Lundqvist Lightside pulled this off, it would be probably the biggest upset I've ever seen in NLC history.
Yeah, I think another one to throw in there, right, just dogpile on with another example for League is ANX, the Russian team beating out Rox Tigers in 2016, right? Yeah. That's another classic.
That's a fantastic one to put in there.
Yeah. So maybe we get another one of these situations. I have hope. I'm a big fan of Butchie. Good. Div 2, I believe, last year, solid top laner, right? Played against some solo queue. But my eyes are on Torek. right? This man has an incredibly hard job. We know how good Johan and Tempt are. Classic duo, incredibly good. And he is on one of the most gank-susceptible champions in the game. So watch Kasing roam up to mid, potentially. Watch Tempt and Johan set up ganks in the mid lane as a classic little top lane standoff.
What was that emote though? The tackle one? I've never seen that before. Confusing. Regardless though, I like your points. I mean, I think there is potential in this Lucas Lightside roster to at the very least not go 0-14. And maybe I'm sounding all doom and gloom here, but I mean, I look at the players. Dr. KS has played here before in the NLC back in 2021. Ragnar was here last summer, subbed in on 4th wall. And the roster was definitely better when he subbed in. Obviously, they didn't do too well, but he didn't look too bad. I was excited about both EMP and Booty, to be honest, from NLC Div 2. So I was actually pretty excited about this Lunkenfist Lightside roster. They've just had 2 very, very bad games and unmemorable games where they've just rolled over and died. And at the very least in this game, playing up against the favorites to win the whole thing, I just don't want to see them roll over and die. I want to see them, make a fight.
Okay, so eyes on right now, eyes on EMP. It looks like he's going to do the grub path, right? This is something that's been popularized pretty recently where you do, I believe it's, you do first 3 regular camps, and then basically you chain that and then go backwards, reverse clearing downwards, doing blue into red into Krugs. And then you get your second rotation camps and you arrive dead on at the grubs at 5 minutes. It's called the grub bath because you cannot do anything except for secure the grubs. So yeah, he's going to do his grump. He's taken 3 regular camps. Now he's going to do his blue buff and path downwards, recall, then redo the exact same path, end up at grubs at 5 minutes. The problem with this is because you cannot do anything else except for take grubs on time like that, you cannot cover any ganks, so the lanes have to be very stable. That's why I'm a bit worried in this game, because the lanes are not stable by draft definition, right? These are lanes that can be very volatile, especially in the middle and bot lane, so we'll have to see if EMP's plan works out, but I like the idea. Be a bit creative with it.
Yeah, I like the idea. Let's see if the execution is there to follow along with it, right? And things don't go too out of control. In particular for me, the bot lane, that's why I've seen Lions could be best when they're able to snowball through that bot lane and then spread the lead out to the rest of the map. Can avoid that here. The hope still lives. Kasing though, looking for the mid lane at the moment, or maybe just looking to gain some vision to see where EMP is at the moment. I believe he might be in the Raptor pit. We can't quite see. Just waiting around, fishing for that opportunity. Won't be able to find it. Torek playing it safe. EMP finishing up those, he's on the Crocs at the moment. Will then, as you said, reset and look for those grubs as they spawn, while Johan has completed his first clear up towards the top side. We'll get that top side scrub.
Yeah, so it's really on Johan to cause some volatility and disruption. I believe what happened down bot side was Kasing was unlocked with I believe I was on about my spiel with the grub path, so I'm not 100% sure, but I think Jinjo and Kasing crashed the red wave, got a recall, got a cheater recall, and then Kasing was unlocked to roam mid, try and find something, right? We're talking about this volatility is incredibly important. Now you can see EMP run towards his rates. He's going to do Wolves again, then Grump, and then dead on the dot. 5 minutes. Gonna arrive there. But now Butchie, he needs to crash his wave, but he can't. Watch Johan.
Oh, Bucci. I mean, he tries desperately. The ghost has been popped. He notices something is wrong, as Banderas does it as well. Still has the W. I don't think that's going to save him first blood. And that is not stability that the EMP needs. Banderas picks up first blood, and Lion Street, they've got that ball rolling. Let's see if he continues to snowball.
Yeah, he's not going to actually opt to go to the grubs, which I'm pretty surprised about. Maybe he just goes for the dragon instead on the dot at 5 minutes, but dropping a ward instead, going to delay it a little bit, going to put the grubs behind a little bit. It does look like he's actually going to go for them, just wanted some deep vision there, potentially to set up some cover for Torak. Yeah, Butchie, I think his best play there was to hug wall and go backwards a bit and then wait in the bushes, soaking XP until EMP could help. Still, really horrible situation. He didn't have Ghost, and yeah, he just got out. No, I think he used Ghost, but he still couldn't get out of there. Too much damage.
Yeah, the Ghost used now TP as well to get back into lane and not lose too much more. 400 gold behind. It's not good, but it's all right. You're 5 minutes into the game, right? You're playing against Lion Street. Maybe I'm cutting too much back here. Or, let's see though. Grubs have been started up, as you said. Not quite on the dot, but that's because he deviated just slightly from the path, as you said, to get that extra bit of vision. 3 grubs will go down. I do believe even in patch 14D that bug is still about the shield, but it doesn't look like they will use it. They'll just take them as quickly as possible, and you know, Lunkus Lightside on the board. First 5 minutes have been decently quiet, just Bucci making that one overextension.
Yeah, and Johan not actually finding anything. Not too much. I'm really surprised they haven't just... they have tried to find mid lane, but Torok managing his waves well, not getting ganked, actually playing a lot better than last week in my opinion. So I hope to see this continue as, you know, setup's still there. Tempt.
Now one chain goes through. Connects, that's a good damage, good poke. Going the weird AD LeBlanc thing. I'm not fully sure on why
The
it's strong.
LeBlanc thing, okay.
LeBlanc. Yeah, I mean, I've noticed it every time I mention LeBlanc. I mean, you know, you might know, Aragon. I am Danish, and the way I pronounce the A in Danish is different than what you do in the UK, and that is what leads to the mispronunciation of the champion.
Yeah, no worries, no sweat. But yeah, AD LeBlanc, since you seem to be a bit quizzical about it, it is still pretty good, right? We see it a lot over the LPL and the LCK. Caps likes to play it as well, so you play it and you're completely fine. Still has a lot of side lane pressure, even though it has no longer any AP scaling on that, on the item. I think it now bounces towards more minions, but LLS, they're facing a dilemma here again. They have to push out this wave, they have to crash, so they need EMP here.
We've seen the situation before on the top side. We saw an Answer kill going, what's it look, to the Lion's Creed. Let's see if it happens here. Can they crash the wave? Jindo stepping up a tiny bit. Seems like they'll focus on clearing out the water and making sure there isn't the jungler just waiting around the bush, looking for the gank. In the top lane, things have slowed down a little bit, but yet again, Bucci struggling to shove in the wave despite Johan not being there.
Yeah, I think Johan's going to come down bot side now. Yeah, exactly. They have a lot of setup down bot side. Still all sums, so maybe they're deciding, you know what, it's a bit too awkward. I'd rather not. I'd rather get these camps and potentially look towards this dragon afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it might sound like I'm really reaching here, but fine start so far from
I'm impressed.
Side. Not many mistakes. They've picked up the Void Grub, they'll pick up the first Drake as well. Let's see though if this will be secured. Johan now knows something is going on, but won't look to contest it. Will just be secured easily. You could say a little bit of a trade in the mid lane, not too much damage. Now though a fight could break out, Ragnar forced to cleanse, and they go towards EMP. Does get shoved out of the route though, another damage goes on towards Kasing. He could fall down. Good flash rate from Dr. Chaos. Johan the next target. Lightside are picking up kills. Could they get two? Yes, they will. But on the backside, Tempt secures one kill in return, and it might be another as EMP is the target yet again. But Jinjo now falls.
Gosh.
That's 4 kills. Solo kill in the top lane as well. Lightside. What
is happening? What is happening? I was really sad because
No
I wanted
way!
Dr. Chaos to engage a bit sooner because of the fact that Tempt did not have prior into Torak, right? LLS could move first, but still it all works out. They managed to find the fight, and it's a 3-for-1.
I'm at a loss for words. Let's watch this one more time. So Kasing initially seizes up Ragnar. He just used the cleanse, walks out. But look, they want to go on EMP, but that's in Sour ultimate. Crescent Guard knocks him out of the W route. And then they just played one by one for the side of Lunkus light side. Dr. Chaos going back in to try and help. Does get spotted out by Tempt. I don't know. Yeah, Bucci in the meanwhile time just finds a solo kill up in the top lane.
Huh. Yeah, I wonder what happened topside. I wonder if he got flipped into tower. That was an old school way of killing on Cassante.
That's crazy, man.
But
That is crazy.
light side, really impressive stuff. Yeah, even with his dragon lead and a composition that, in my opinion, shouldn't get as much early game, right? When you have Zinzao, LeBlanc, Leona potential onto the Jace. As we get the replay, nice. Thank you, observers. And I just want to take a look at this now. What do they do? How does this actually result into a kill? Does Banderas try to pull the trigger with Ghost and
I
ultimate?
think Banderas might just overstep.
He dodges the Q, so it does look good for Banderas at the start. But I think Butchie on Cassante with the copy pasta might just stat check him. Yeah,
No
it's just
way.
a stat check.
What?
Oh
He's
my
slow
God.
as well. Oh, the confidence to go back in and then just say, okay, I'm fine living here. I mean, the balls on that man is respectable. Same for Johan, though, as EMP. It's taken quite low. The blue buff will be stolen away, I believe, as EMP won't walk back in and risk his life for it. Johan trying to re-establish control and show who's boss on the rift. Void Grubs have spawned, ensuring that we won't see any of these Voidlings. Still don't know what to call them. Me and my friends call them Grub Hubs, but those won't be spawning in this game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's 6 grubs, right? Oh no, it's going to be denied, actually, right? Because Lilia actually secured the first
So
3.
It will be 3 for each team.
But still, really nice as they secure another crash, right? I'm just at a loss for words because this is going really smoothly. I'm kind of worried if they start fumbling.
Does he overstep here? Good trade back damage. Forced to flash out on the engage that he
Ginger.
started, by the way.
Well,
The curtain call. Now it's time to show those fancy feet. Dr. Chaos can't tank up them all, that's for sure. He'll go down if he gets the 4th shot. Won't be hit up by it. I mean, they are. It's on a knife's edge so far this game. These trades are very close, but Lunkus Lightside, they are performing incredibly.
Yeah, so just list out what Lunkus Lightside needed to do. right, they needed a stable early game. They needed to secure some grubs, right, and make sure none of the lanes got ganked. They needed Torok to survive the setup of the LeBlanc, which is notoriously broken with the chain, plus the Xin Zhao threat early game, and they needed EMP to outfarm the Xin Zhao, and they're doing all of that, right? And on top of that, they're winning team fights, so far, smooth sailing. Now, can they continue this? Can they continue to stack? And
Mid lane?
is he going to pull the trigger?
Oh,
There it is!
That big shockwave blast didn't quite hit. Forces the flash.
Nah.
Won't go any further. Happy getting that 5-minute cooldown away. Attempt. Wants to try and poke back. Does have the static shiv already completed. I thought I would never see that again, but I mean, Season 14 has been a season of new things.
So, I didn't think I'd have to talk about this, but how do Lions Creek come back? Well, they have a LeBlanc, an AD LeBlanc, in the side lane, right? Really potent in the side lane, triple grubs as well. Problem is they're against some lockdown, right? So, LeBlanc thrives when she's not against too much lockdown, but still going to be fine against the Nautilus R. That's the main threat. As Torok is under threat, but EMP's there.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the lilting lullaby, and there aren't many
Torok is too
summoners
high,
to
I
work
think.
with. No flashes. Dr. Chaos could quickly roam up as well. Doesn't have a flash himself, but could look to join the fight. Level 6. Now spotted out on a ward. They might look to try and close down on Ragnar, who is without the flash. Has popped the Jumuth and just runs out of that. Dr. Chaos might be the sacrificial lamb. Locked up initially. Still CC. The chains have connected. No flash. He is dead. So for all the fishing that Lions Creed have done, they do manage to find one kill back, and the goal lead has been closed. I guess you could say comeback completed.
Yeah, playing her in vision. Look at all that vision down bot side, managing to push a wave in and then secure that vision. And yeah, do really good stuff from Kasing. That chain CC with the Jhin plus Leona is just too much. Dr. Chaos falls, and they're going to be comfy again, right? Managing to come back as Banderas. He's a level down. I don't think he wants this.
And I just want to go back because we didn't get much time to talk about it in terms of that top lane 1v1. But for Bucci, I mean, the importance of finding that, unless he just finds one more here, could be the second solo kill of the game. Good healing from Banderas though with that needlework, able to get out. But for Bucci to make a pretty big blunder early on, I will say, to try and push in the wave and gets punished for it. Coming back from the deficit he was finding himself in, losing the big wave and also dying early on to find that solo kill, just closes out the difference up in top lane. That is massive for him. Drake will be secured here from Locust light side, but let's look at Johan because he could look for a counter move and his eyes are up towards the top side.
Yeah, trying to cross-map this dragon, I'm just a little bit worried as the mid-game goes on, because what we've seen a lot, even last week, right? Lions Creed, they might lose, go behind against Ruddy, for example, and this is something they did a lot last year when they were a roster there too. They might lose early, but then they will just micro-outplay you in teamfights, right? And that's just how it is, and unfortunately, it becomes really hard to close out versus them. They remind me a lot of G2 in some ways, in that regard. But we'll have to keep an eye on that, see the skirmishes, see how they pilot them, because they are incredibly mechanical players, but yeah, still, things are going well. They managed to secure another dragon. That's 2 dragons on the board for Olympus light side. And 4 minutes now for the Cloud Soul Point. So, eyes on that, really. Keep it stable until then, and you're good.
And Aragon, just before we got into the game, I did mention Longest light side. Their first 2 games, not memorable. They didn't perform well. They looked there. They just rolled over and died. And to see them put up a fight, even if it's just for these 14 minutes, where they've played really well up against our favorites to win the league, it sends a signal, right? They aren't completely out of it yet. If they can, continue this for the next 10-15 minutes, even if they end up losing the game, the mental boost this will give to do this against a team, like Lions Creed, that's massive for them. It's such a positive to see them show up, even for just 15-20 minutes, considering their opponent they're up against. I'm very happy with this so far. And there's I think Tim might be caught out here. Oh, the chain's not quite connecting. And now can they secure the Herald? They're doing it on Vision. Johan is here as well.
No Varasol, no
It
Normal.
takes so long. Yeah, so 2 ults already used. Do they just give it up? EMP in the smite fight up against Johan. Will he win it? Yes, he will. And could they win the fight as well? Kasing goes in on towards Ragnar. Johan taken low. Banderas in the backline with the needlework. Trying to cut through Torek. Dr. Chaos down to half, but he continues to go forward. The flash forward. Double lilting lullaby on 2 low targets will mean 2 more kills into the light side pocket. Double kill for them. They claim that Herald. And things are looking oh so good for the Swedish organization.
And despite being tools down, Lightside managed to find the fight. They were down Varasol, they were down Nortazol, like we said. But still, I think it's Kasing overstepping and diving down at the back of the team fight. And his team was nowhere near. You can see Banderas trying to join from the top of the fight. But again, still could not 1v4 and had to just leave. So, damn, LLS are putting up a real fight and they secure the next objective. Now, how are they going to use this Rift Trail? Probably before the next dragon to secure priority mid. And then be able to move in for vision, and it's looking like a soul point for them.
I don't know, that was the perfect expression after what this game has brought us so far. Damn! Like it is.
No, I'm really
the perfect way
impressed.
to describe it. Yeah, it's like the damn. This is not going how we expected it. Look at the predictions. I'm not sure everyone put 5 points on Lion's Creed. I think pretty much everyone did though. Maybe except for Hipray because he is on some different stuff when he's making those predictions. But even he did not predict the upset here. I'm not saying the upset has happened, but this game is already closer than I expected by a mile. At this point, I'm gonna be completely honest. I expected Lion's Creed to be 6, 7, 8k gold ahead, in full control, just slowly but surely building up their lead. But this game is not going that way, and to see Lunkus Lightside put out these fights and just win them, that is so impressive to see. Can
Tempt.
they continue though as they want to catch
Tempt.
out Tempt? He does have the flash, he goes back and forth in those chains. Where were those going? Oh,
He's dead?
My god! What?
I mean, it's the Varus execute damage. It always catches everyone off guard. That was so much damage. 1.5 items coming in for this for Ragnar on this Varus just pops him. Holy moly. Johan has to defend the bot lane, has to catch this wave, but still.
That was crazy.
You're lost for words, aren't you? That's
I'm at a complete loss of words. And then I look up at the kill score and the gold. This is not like it's just one pick to try and get them back into the game. That is to continue to grow their lead. You mentioned the soul point we'd be having to look out for in 4 minutes. That is in 1 minute's time. Look at the gold difference the entire game.
I think they have to cross map, you know? I don't think they can test this next dragon. They have to go topside, play for this tower. Play for the first turret gold with this LeBlanc. They need to get this LeBlanc online somehow. Get a Voltaic Cyclo Sword and then potentially be able to win out in side lane. The problem is, it's not like Casante's weak. It's not like Jace is weak, so she won't by default win. So it's a really hard one. I think they've got to overload topside, try and force a kind of fight somehow whilst they give up this dragon. But it looks like they're going to go for their patented, we will outplay you. So let's take a look. Let's take a look, Lion's Creed, what you got?
Yeah, they're going to try and fist fight their way back into this game. The mid lane tier 1 has to be taken down. In terms of vision, Lion's Creed certainly have enough vision to try and contest this. Tempt, no flash. Same goes for Johan, same goes for Jinjo. Look over to the side of Lunkus Lightside. Everyone has it except for EMP. Obviously, Bucci never has the flash available. He's walking his way right down to this mid lane. The poke starting to come through as Tempt continues to do what he does best and slowly but surely do a bit of damage on the HP bars. Not much at this point of the game, though.
Yeah, so this is the Rift Herald. Rift Herald mid into getting priority for this dragon because they'll be able to move in first here. Now, what are they going to do? They're just going to take this and then potentially try and kill this Rift Herald, but they can get a second charge here. Not going to go for it.
I won't be able to get it through though. Instead, try and rotate down towards that Drake, get a bit of mission control back in their favor. But no, 3 members of Lightside continually want to put down this pressure on the mid lane. Want to try and split off maybe Lion's Creed. They've caught Tempt. He's put up. He's going to die again. He might be invisible, but only for a second. Dr. Chaos takes that. This is the soul point as well for Lightside. Aragon, I am starting to believe.
Yeah, I mean, what is happening? What is absolutely happening? Tempt keeps getting caught. This draft, you really had to accelerate. You only have scaling on the side of Gwen really in that matchup. You have a bunch of side laning, but they have failed to accelerate. Xin Zhao could not find anything. Johan and Xin Zhao did not find anything, and LLS now winning another fight.
This is... I can't be looking at this. This is insane. What are we watching? They are just... And they're continually making the right choices, making the right plays. They got a turret here alongside the soul point. Didn't give up anything. Even found a kill to go alongside it. Second items are starting to come through for the members of Lunkus Lightside. Some even building towards that third item. Only 1 member on the side of Lion's Creed having that second item. And that is Tempt. And that is because that first static shift so incredibly cheap to buy. It's not over yet. It's just a 4,000 gold lead. But Lion's Creed are really going to have to show their worth here if they want to win this game.
Yep.
It's not going to be easy by any means.
Full topside vision control for the side of LLS. They want to threaten this Baron when it spawns. They've got triple dragon and they've got mid push and top push as well as a bunch of prior. They could just threaten this Baron and then sit in bushes for picks. They have a lot of turning and pick. But instead they're just going to start it up. So what are they going to do? Tempt, you got a TP over.
Oh, this is crazy. They're going for it. Instantly as it spawns, now known as well on vision. Bucci isn't there, he would have to TP in as well, so as they see Banderas, they back off. Maybe just trying to force that TP early on, didn't want to commit for it. Johan forced to flash away as Dr. Chaos looks for the dredge line. Ragnar won't be locked up. The game, the intensity of it has risen exponentially. First it was just a couple of good plays in their favor and well done to Lightside, but now they are, 1 or 2 big team fights away from winning the game, it feels.
Yeah,
Or
not
at the very
managing
least,
to
a
find
very,
the
very
turn.
big total goal lead.
Yeah, not managing to find the turn. So honestly, this is kind of nice for Lions Creed. They start up this Nash, but there's no way they do it. They have a Jhin, right? So they're going to continue to play for gold on Tempt on the side lane, right? So that's why they tried to, Lions Creed, LLS rather, sorry, tried to force out this Baron to force the TP from Tempt, which is what I was saying as well. Instead, they don't get anything. They don't manage to find the turn, instead getting Johann's flash, which is still really significant. So let's see what they do now. Does look like they're going to play for the tier 1 in topside to try and come back. I keep talking about LC because they're the ones behind, and it's pretty simple to pilot LS's draft right now. They just got to go over to this dragon, secure vision. For in 2 minutes 30 time, it is the Soul, Duckling.
And one of the good things you could say for Lions Creed is that there is so much poke on the Lucas light side roster. And well, why is that a good thing? But it's in terms of the neutral objectives, right? You take them so slowly. You don't take them quickly. For example, had you had the on-hit barriers or an Asir in the mid lane. And that gives Lions Creed a bit more leeway, a bit more time to react if Lucas light side want to pull off any of these sneaks in terms of neutral objectives. For example, they can't just sneak the Soul that easily because it takes quite a while to take down, and that is maybe something they could play around.
Yeah. Ping's
But
coming down topside.
It's crazy this.
Yeah, sorry, Duckling. The ping's coming down
Go on.
topside. They are trying to gank Tempt as he tries to push out to try and find something on him because they do have that lockdown from Nautilus, but you could see Johann is shadowing him in that side lane. There's no winning play here. They can only farm at the same rate whilst they lose vision and pressure, and now it's going to be Baron again.
Tempt looking for Torek up on this top side. Want to keep my eyes on how that 1v1 goes. If anyone manages to assassinate each other, it could be huge for the upcoming fight. Banderas, be aware, is walking all the way up. He will be here soon, and look at how slowly they take the Drake. They're backing off it. They want
No
the fight
flash.
instead. Johann, the target initially, going towards Jinjo. Let's look at the fight. Front to back at the moment. Little Lullaby comes out, but it's only on 2. Dr. Chaos already gone. EMP in the front line, dealing good damage, but he himself so incredibly low, trying to run around. He's healing a bit. Johann might take down. No, the Triumph saves his life. No! The burn! Somehow enough. As Ragnar, pretty low at this moment, kind of back underneath his turret. Tempt looks for it. Can he find it? The red buff. Knocked enough. 10 HP. And Lightside are playing with fire. Lions Creed are fighting back.
Yeah, the turn not quite there. I kept shouting. There was no flashes for either Johann or Dr. Chaos, who were in the middle of it all. Dr. Chaos, though, managed to fall because of Johann's ultimate. As we get the replay here, let's take a look at this a bit closer, right? You can see Johann actually goes in. Tempt goes in to find an auto attack. The poke slowly adding up. And the turn comes in. Dr. Chaos is on his own. I think he engages a little bit too quickly, has no flash to get out, and he just falls, right? Johann, however, does not because he has his ultimate. Now, EMP is stuck on his own because of Banderas' pressure down in the bot side, zoning off 3 members alone. So shout out to Banderas there, a bit of the MVP of that fight. And now it's going to come down to that dragon. The fight is over and Soul is on the table.
Soul is on the table. Let's see it here. Ragnar survives with 10 HP. The burn from EMP. Man, that was a lot of damage. I thought the Triumph would have saved him. He healed almost 200 HP from that game. So incredibly close, 1,000 gold to separate these two teams. Soul now on the table again in just 5 seconds time. 2 item spikes are being hit by more and more people. Banderas in particular, I feel like is the strongest member at this moment of that Lions Creed roster. Instantly though, Lightside turn their attention to it. They will be able to claim it at the price of a top lane tier 1. So they will claim the Soul. It is just a Cloud Soul, but that movement speed could be more influential than you initially expect.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing you say here is like, guys, Dorian is just Cloud Soul, but realistically, it's still going to be a lot more valuable than just this tier 1 turret. They don't contest it, they opt not to. Potentially playing for more scaling on. Banderas is my only shout here. I don't think that the Jhin is going to have a great time into this armor stacking Bucci on this Cassante, so it is really going to be on Banderas with the scaling here, as well as the side lane potential of Tempt to try and come back, but still, yeah, Soul down. For the side of LLS, and it's only going to help their fights with this move speed.
I'm still kind of shell-shocked that we're finding ourselves in the situation where Lightside are still the ones in the lead with a Soul. Ragnar, very slow picking up that tier initially in the game, so despite him having 3 items, doesn't feel as strong without that mana immune being upgraded. It will still take quite a while as Dr. Chaos steps forward here, a bit too far forward and will be punished severely for his actions. Taken down, TP in from Torek. Can they find something in return? No. They invest the TP, lose their support. Now Baron on the cards here, 25 seconds without Dr. Chaos.
Yeah, the support falls. He still had flash, so he was stun locked for so long.
Kasing.
Watch the flank. Watch Kasing on this flank. TP's coming down from Johann at Tempt as well.
Tempt and Kasing on the flank. Kasing now showing his face. And it's back playing front to back. But Temp though, now finally seen as he takes Torek down to half HP, jumps over. Eyes on the Baron still, that's continually going down. EMP needs to be able to get in there. Where's the poke? Can they cut through the HP bars? Johan finds 2 with the sleep. Will he use the lilting lullaby? Yes, 3 men now. One of them being Banderas. The big main carriers can sing. Goes low. Same goes for Banderas. They're both gone. And Lightside have found 3. They could find more as well. The Cloud Soul helping chase down Jinjo. It is 4 for Lightside. The Baron surely the prize. And if they not can claim the ace as well, I do not believe it. Lightside take the fight, they take the clean ace, and they get the Baron.
And Tempt, he just doesn't do enough damage. Bucci there on this Cassante is just way too tanky versus Team Cop. The only one who can kill him is Banderas, but it's just not enough. Take a look. Watch Tempt continuously trying to poke and prod, only finding a bit of poke onto Torak here. But Bucci is full HP the entire time. Picture in picture, you can see the Baron goes down to the side of the Lilia and LLS, but Bucci, this is the problem with all these lethality and the low damage team compositions, like with Jin, like with AD LeBlanc. You just can't do anything to cut through him, and this is why Cassante is so high priority. The Baron shreds through everyone, and then Bucci cleans everyone up.
Movement speed. Like, Jinjo can do nothing. Jin normally a very fast AD carry and retreating, but up against that Cloud Soul, Torek finds the one attempt. We could be having one of the biggest upsets on our hands here, and the reason normally you would call this this is a big enough lead, they should be able to close it out. It's because it's Lion Creed they're playing against. They can always find a way back. At the very least, that's the feeling you're sitting with as a viewer here. But Lightside are in control, and when they play these fights carefully, it looks oh so beautiful. Ooh. Slowly chipping away at the HP bars, waiting until the right moment to go for the engage. And after such a disastrous week 1, what a statement to make if Lightside take down Lion's Creed. They might just be 2 wins apart in the standings, but in terms of fan expectation, momentum, and everything else taken into consideration, this would be a monumental victory. Johan on the flank, same goes for Kasing. They find Dr. Chaos, but they want to go for Ragnar. Curtain Call has been called, but they just can't connect, and the Cloud Soul leads the way to escape. Johan now put to sleep with the lilting lullaby attempt, locked up by the depth charge. And the damage, not quite there. Banderas has found Ragnar on the backline. Is this just it? 27 minutes in. They continue to push forward towards the base, but with Banderas still alive, it's hard to believe that it could be over. Torek pushing towards the Nexus to attempt, trying to do what he can, but that does LeBlanc does no damage. Jinjo, the Jin, feels almost useless as Banderas, almost a one-man army. Lightside are doing it. They are walking towards the pearly gates of their first victory. And what a statement to make. It's against Lion's Creed of all people. No longer undefeated. The favorites taken down, and Lightside are on the ball.
And Lightside, they have a game plan. They stick to it. They pull it off with no hitches. They had essentially a perfect game. I've never seen such a comeback from losing so hard in week 1. Bouncing back, maybe lacking confidence, maybe some nerves, but now a game no one predicted them win versus Lion's Creed. They actually pull it off.
That was phenomenal. They played that so well after the Baron. They closed it out so easily, so cleanly. You're against Lion's Creed. You shouldn't be doing this, Lightside. You're 0-2. And I am gobsmacked, and my vocabulary is disappearing by the minute. I'll throw it to a break. Instead, our analyst will do the honor of breaking down this incredible game. I expected a 20-minute game, maybe 25 minutes max. We got that in the end, Aragon, but it was Lightside who came out on top. I cannot believe I had to say that. What a wonderful game. Congratulations to Lightside. We'll see you after the break.
Break it down, step on the gas, let's get out of town. We're gonna break out and have some fun. We're gonna do what you never done. Oh yeah. Come on, take your body with you. It's a money weekend. Everything we wanna, we go do. We go do. It's let's